My little minions. Look at my minions working away. Hey? Brilliant. Okay. Whoa! Hi guys, welcome back to Kit Car Director and MK Sportscars. Well, another week's rolling by, and what have we got on this week? Well, we've got Project #Charles, we've got Project #Greg here. We've got the RX5 Turbo 1.5 update on what's going on with that. Many other features and things. Coolant reroute kits and other bits and bobs. So let's roll those VTs. Right guys, standing over here, we're on #Project Charles. Well, progress, building it, cracking on each week, as you know. So, a few bits to mention. We've got the SPD throttle bodies on here, SPD filter. It's running MBE management and the loom, so we're on with the wiring on this now. It's going to be an absolute tool, this car. Yeah, all the wiring gets cracking on with it now. We've got all the exhaust headers fitted. We've mocked up for the exhaust silencer that's going on as well, which is down here. So that will fit on nicely onto there in a second, and we'll make the exhaust bracket for that. So that's just finishing off, but that's our stock booster headers. What are we on with? Well, you see the billet front uprights and the brakes, all of them done. So very nice bit of kit with the wheelwoods on there, all in. What's this running? Mintex 1144 pads in there. We've got the 2.4 quick rack in. You saw the other week, the oil cooler and the radiators, that's all kits in. Plumbed all the dry sump. We've mocked up the steering column. This has got a collapsible column here, and then we've got a race boss, a quick release boss up here for the freehold. This is also going to be having flat shifter, which is the next thing we'll do, the install once we finish the wiring here. But all the float chambers are in with the low reservoir pots. Another IVA compliant thing, guys. If you've got these pots, you need to put these little float level indicators for IVAs. This is going to be a road car. Water coolant lines in. I'm going to speak about coolant lines in a minute on another setting, but side panels fully bonded on, rear tub fully bonded on and fitted. As you saw, all the rear ends pretty much buttoned up now. Brake calipers, rear hubs, billet bearing carriers in there, all brand new dry shafts. Got 338 LSD, and it's a pushing shaft. It's perfect gearing with a 205 on these. Ends up about 128 mile an hour gearing, which we kind of think works best for these. You can go to a 314. Tends to kill it on actual drivability everywhere. You might get a little bit more top speed, and maybe with this one you could, but 128, 130, plenty quick enough in these. So nice little tool. So yeah, Project Charles is cracking on, and this is the wiring diagram we're using, which has got it all in here with a booster for the K8. So it's a big old thing that we work with it on there as well. Runs our standard loom. For all the other auxiliaries, so the fuse box and all that's in there, so that will all tie in. Side panels, they're all bonded inside, handbrake levers in, handbrake switches in, handbrake cables are in, all the power lines, battery kill switches. So yeah, it's cracking on. It's cracking on. If you're wondering why the engine cradle is not powder coated yet, we've done that for a mock-up one, which was going to do something with the paddle shift. So we've got a new powder coated one coming on for that. But yeah, you'll see that progress, and then we'll move over to the next project. Right guys, we've had a few requests about Hayabusas and plumbing in the coolant system. So this is a dry sump engine, which you know about, we've been talking about. I'm going to give you kind of how we do it. May not be the right way, may be the wrong way, but this is how we do it and what works for us. So we have a dry sump system on this. So we get rid of the water pump, which is down here, and it has the dry sump pump in. So what we have to do is a water pump delete on that, and we run a small little Bosch electric water pump here. So normally the coolant would come from down here when your standard water pump on a booster, if you're running the standard setup. But on this dry sump system, it's out of a 90 degrees, and we come from 25 to 19. So 19 mil up to 25 into a Y piece that is here. Then this Y piece will be your fill, and it comes up to your header tank wherever you mount it, which is there. This then runs 25 mil. We only use 25, not 30, 32, 25 to the bottom hose. And that mounts off the radiator bottom hose here. Then the top hose, so from the hot side of the engine, will run along and mounts in, as you can see, under your thermostat housing here. Now we do remove the thermostat housing in there because we run an electric water pump. And then off of this, for a breather for a T, we go into a T here. This again goes back to your header tank with an 8 mil, and then runs forward to the top of a radiator. Now it depends on your radiator setup. You may not have this system where you've got a bleed at the top, and you may be just bringing the T-piece from here to the top of the header tank. But that is the basic setup for a wet sump system. 25mm top and bottom outlets, 8mm return from the top of the rad to your thermostat housing, and with a T-piece to your top of the header tank. But that's running the little Bosch electric water pump in there for you. If you like what you see and you're into your kit cars, guys, then why not subscribe to our channel? Press subscribe, click on the bell icon, press all, and it'll send you notifications each week. Right guys, standing over here, we've got hashtag Project Greg, which is our Indy RR chassis, so it's a round tube chassis, fully rose jointed chassis, which we've been working on side by side with Project Charles as well. These two are pretty much similar in the build specs, so we're building them side by side, which is great. Obviously we've got an RLM engine in this, which is a stock booster. These make about 205, but obviously we've gone through it, cleaned it all as well, detailed it and painted it, so it's a bit nicer to look at when it goes in the engine bay as well. We fitted all the dry sump system on this, which you may have seen in the week. So we've got the dry RLM racing, so if you want a dry sump pan system, we hook up with RLM, and they supply them into us. Great bit of kit, works, fits easy, nice install, lower pan depth on it as well, so you've got loads of ground clearance. Basically that sits below, not even below the chassis, so you can run extremely low ride heights and probably ride a few curbs and not have to worry about any pans hitting, which is great. So it's got the billet clutch on it, billet clutch slave down here, which again we get from RLM, which is this bit of kit here. That's all been fitted in as well, and again we run the same water pump setup with a Bosch water pump and everything else that will drive all of this engine. What's been fitted? Well, you can see prop shaft sprocket adapter, which is this here. So we get the drive through the prop shaft. We produce those guys. We do them for various different engines, boosters, ZX12, ZX10, you know, loads, all the Gixxer 1000s, all the Yamaha range as well. Prop shafts all the way in, floor pans fitted, handbrake levers gone in, reverse mechanism. Perhaps if Anna would scoot round here and show on this reverse mechanism we've got down here, this is how we do our setup. A, for compliance and racing, or B, if it's obviously for an IVA for a vehicle, but it gives you an idea on the electric reverse setup. Diff's gone in. So again, 338 in this, gives it that. All the rose jointed wishbones have gone in, Protect shocks all the way around. This will be having all the aluminium dampers. Brake lines are fully in. It's going to have an FIA spec roll cage on this, so different to Project Charles, it's got a different cage, which is sitting down there at the moment, but so it's a completely different specification. As you go in, aluminium panel is in. Excuse the noise, but they are working. I'm not going to stop them. Pedal box is in, of course, and then we're on with a billet front end, same as on Project Charles. We use our standard thing now, so it's a wheelwood caliper, cast front upright with a billet bracket, billet hub. This is basically Cortina geometry. You run a 47mm stud, 63 on the rear, mainly because of wheel offsets and spacers and stuff like that. So this is all together. Got the Escort-based rack. We use a 2.4 quick rack in there as well. All our rocker suspension is in, so our inboard rockers on this as well. I think you might be running anti-roll bars, and we'll show you that when we get to that stage. That's in as well. Just got the floats to go in, but Dylan's been fitting all of these uprights today. That's his job today, and now we carry on running all the tie rod ends and rack extensions, etc. as well, and then we'll be on with, I think it's steering column in, plumbing, and then dry sump tank's got to go in, the same as Charles, which is our standard 450mm height aluminium tank. So once that's in there, and that, he'll start doing the rest of the plumbing up as well. So that'll crack on as quick as Charles. I mean, it's coming together pretty quick. So just on the rear end with Project Greg here, this is the completed section on this side rather than the output flange, but this is the other side that's being reassembled here on the bench. So it's going to be having the cross Jordan groove discs on the rear, which is nice, very nice. The wheelwood handbrake caliper, which is this one as well. Then it'll have ours, which is our, we do 27 or 28 spline. These go on, as you'll see here. We'll undo the nut. And for the pushing shaft, we have a 28, and that one slide on. And then we manufacture these. So if you're looking for forward-based stuff and you want a 27 or 28, which is 28 is on the pushing shaft, and then you've got Labo, which is 27 spine. We make them brand new. They're not aftermarket components that are bought off a donor vehicle. We make them all brand new. And then it'll have our front upright, which is fabricated with a billet front bearing carrier and the bearings and the billet handbrake caliper bracket, which will mount basically like so, with a disc in the centre of it all. So that's going to be, they're starting to do a sub-assembly on the bench here, and they'll start putting out onto the other corner there as well. So that's kind of a standard rear setup really, all brand new components, so it's easy replaceable if needed. If you did have a little incident on track, you know, if you bend it, we can mend it, I suppose, that's the phrase. So yeah, that's cracking on, and it'll go on, and you'll keep following hashtag press up subscribe, and you can see hashtag Greg and hashtag Project Charles come along. Right guys, standing over the Mazda RX5 demonstrator. You've probably already seen part one where we had it, we've done the engine development, we've done the turbo change, we had it on a rolling road, a couple of little visuals, throttle cable braking, and also it's overboosting me, getting like 22 PSI of boost. So we're going to call this part 1.5 because it will go back to the dyno and it'll be part 2. So what do we do to resolve those issues really of it overboosting? Overboosting means, you know, we want to get about 14 PSI most of the time in this running, which would be nice and comfortable to drive. At 22 PSI, way too much, way too much. And it'd be great on the top end, but not at the for drivability on the road generally. So what we had to do, we've got the original setup was this, where we had a TD04 smaller turbo on here. It's a TD04 L13T, and now we've got a GTX 2860 RS, 11 blade billet one, sat down in there, much lower mount manifold. And what we had to do was port the wastegate. So basically allow the boost, because boost made up of pressure, so we allow the boost to get out. So how did we do that? I'll show you in this. I'll put it down because it was quite heavy. So this has got an internal wastegate the same as this one, and this is the wastegate trap. We basically open that up, we remove all of this, and then we start porting this out. We die grind and make that hole there bigger, so it allows it to flow. So we disassembled the turbo, reported it, blended it all in, so it allowed the flow of the boost to go out through the exhaust system. Now, we've done some preliminary road tests on this, and we're down to about 14 PSI, which is great news, because the actuator, which is this part, the silver part down there, or as you can see on this one, the actuator arm, it works off the vacuum, which ultimately opens and closes it. This is set on this particular between 12 and 14 PSI. And the next stage is replacing, we've bolted in a new actuator to run at 8 PSI, so it will open up earlier to get rid of some of the boost, so we can run a lower boost setting on it as well. So that's the next phase, and then it's going back to richer RLM, and then we'll start dialing it all in. We expect to see decent numbers, like we say on this, and believe me, testing on road even with it is like that. It's probably far too much anyway, so it goes like a absolute rocket ship as it is. So this is a Mazda MX-5 1.8 MB engine Mark II. So if you're looking at doing that and you've got a Miata rather than one of these beautiful RX5s, you're doing a Miata, it's the same principles apply. We do the turbo manifolds and the turbos and etc. It's the same kind of setup. This is running Motorsport Electronics 221 ECU, but you can run a OMX management as well. We can do both. So yeah, that comes to give an insight of where we are with the project and where it's going. Remember to subscribe, and then you get to see part 2 with this thing, this weapon on the dyno. Right guys, what we're going to do now is head off to Donington Park, the awesome track day that it is. There was loads of the guys out in kind of MKs and strikers and that, all heading out on track. So we're going to see some live footage going on now. music going on in the background there, Peter. Well, that's it for this week, guys. What a great week. And if you want to know more about the Indy range, the Striker range, the Phoenix or the Falcon, remember, you can hook up online or give us a call or an email. We can talk you through the projects or what these are about. Both these booster ones are going to be awesome once they hit the track, which is, I know, where they're going to spend 90% of their life with Charles and Greg anyway. So, yeah, press that subscribe button if you like what we do. If you want to know more information about what we are, press the like button as well. You know, love to see it. Yeah, like, share. Catch you next week.